Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newest edition of Dale Center NASCAR betting preview for Kansas, the Advent Health 400 weekend. It's a doubleheader weekend with Cup and O'Reilly. The O'Reilly Grand National Series. I did declare that I'm going to call it that from now on. I don't like ORAP, O-R-A-P, O'Reilly. It's just such a mouthful. It's the O'Reilly Grand National Series. And then the NASCAR Cup Series, Advent Health 400 at Kansas Speedway. Odds on the bottom of your screen, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. And we've got a lot to dive into here for what should be a fun weekend. We actually have the Saturday race at night for the O'Reilly Series, which is cool. The O'Reilly Grand National Series. And then, of course, we got the Cup Series on Sunday afternoon. And if you want to call it a triple header weekend for bettable events, we have IndyCar at Long Beach, which should be fun. The Cup race actually leads into the IndyCar race at Long Beach, which is a cool circuit and always a fun race as well. And actually, if you want to make it 4 bettable events this weekend in the motorsports world, we can add Cup qualifying. You'll see some Cup qualifying bets here that I'm going to talk about as we prepare for this race weekend. So, recapping last week, congratulations. It's one of the few times where everybody wins. Everybody and their fucking grandmother and their dog bet on Ty Gibbs to win. Some people got in early, got that 14-1 line that was uploaded on the off weekend via BetMGM. I told you on Dale Center, even though he didn't make the top 10 plays, this is why you don't skip around. This is why you got to listen to me yap for 40 fucking minutes, respectfully. I told you guys I'm probably betting on Ty Gibbs. And I did. If you subscribe via dubclub.win, you saw that. Pre-practice, pre-qualifying, plenty of time available. I did bet on Ty Gibbs. I wasn't obsessed with the price to warrant a top 10 bet. But we had Ryan Preece top 10 in the top 10 bets. That cashed. I'm trying to think what else we had. We had something in O'Reilly cash. I think it was Brent Cruz top 5. And then obviously the Ty Gibbs play that I referenced before we dove into the top 10 plays was a smash. He was fantastic. He clutched up. He did everything he had to do to win at Bristol, his first career win. If you've been a Dale Center viewer all year long, you got the Ty Gibbs over 0.5 wins at plus money via DraftKings Sportsbook that I referenced in the preseason episode of Dale Center where I covered my favorite future bets. So, 2 future bets down already with Ty Gibbs over 0.5 wins and Tyler Reddick over 1.5 wins. We've got a Logano ticket hanging out there. We've got a Reddick championship ticket. We've got a Briscoe championship ticket. We've got other tickets hanging out there for futures. But right now the focus is back at Kansas Speedway. And to get into that same type of, flow as we had last week, some bets that I'm eyeing that will not make the top 10. I am eyeing RFK for top Ford. Now, you're going to see Keselowski 10-1 range. That's not a bad price. Busher, I've seen 5.5-1. Some books have him as low as 3.5-1 on the early morning of Friday at the time this is being recorded around 5:30 a.m. So I like RFK for top Ford possibilities, but I'm going to wait till after practice and qualifying because Ryan Blaney, it doesn't matter what track we go to. They are so fast in practice. He goes out second to last in qualifying. It's very likely he's going to practice well and qualify well. And if that happens, maybe you see some inflation on the RFK guys' pricing. You know, Busher's qualified well here in the past. Busher qualified well at Vegas. He's the one I could worry about, but Keselowski, can't trust him in qualifying. Ryan Preece has been kind of all over the place in qualifying, so I'm eyeing top Ford plays, but I am going to wait until we get track time to see what happens with that 12 car. Another guy I'm eyeing post-practice, post-qualifying is Christopher Bell. He has been lights out at Kansas in everything except winning. Like, he's done everything except win here in the Gen 7 era at least over the past, 3 years. It seems like all they do is run top 5, but there's always somebody a little bit better than them at Kansas in this Gen 7 Cup car. So Bell, I think right now a little overpriced considering where he is going to qualify. because he had such a bad week at Bristol last weekend, I think when you look at where he is in the qualifying order, I think he goes out 18th-ish. I think the track with super cold temperature on Saturday evening, I think the fastest times are going to be put later in the session. With a lot of the Toyotas, you got Larson going out late. I referenced Blaney going out late. So I think there's an opportunity to wait on Christopher Bell, get him at a better price post-qualifying. We know he's been fantastic in scoring pole positions in or at these mile-and-a-half style racetracks. I don't think it's going to happen this weekend because I think he goes out a little too early. So I think you have potential for Bell to get a little bit longer. So Bell is another guy that I'm eyeing post-practice, post-qualifying. Another guy that you're not going to see make this top 10 that I'm probably going to bet pre-practice, pre-qualifying, Kyle Larson. I know Chevy's been all over the place. Larson has kind of been the outlier of being competitive just about everywhere in the Chevy camp. I know Chase Elliott won at Martinsville, but Larson dominated Bristol last week. He's led laps at other tracks. He was good at Vegas, kind of faded late. Larson, I see an opportunity here via BetMGM, who every now and then will throw out odds boosts. It's nice when they throw them out for all sports. That's kind of the issue. You know, they'll throw odds boosts for March Madness and the Masters and NBA playoffs, but it's not very often I get a BetMGM odds boost for anything. So now, at the time of recording, Kyle Larson is 6-1 on BetMGM. What I'm going to do is use that 25% odds boost and buy him up to plus 750. That seems like a fantastic idea, considering he could come out here and dominate this race. It's what he did last year. Toyota was better last fall, and you're going to see plenty of Toyota in the Dale Center top 10. But I figure as late as he's going out in qualifying, he's a top candidate to win the pole. I think you go ahead and take Kyle Larson right now. I would bet 6-1 if I had to. I think 6-1 is a great price pre-practice, pre-qualifying. I'm going to go ahead and buy up to plus 750 with that opportunity via BetMGM. So that's another one you're going to see not make top 10, but it's a part of the game plan this weekend. So Kyle Larson's been fantastic at Kansas. I think getting him at 6-1 or better is a good price, considering he could put it on the pole and practice extremely well here on Saturday. So that's kind of what I'm leaning heading into the top 10 plays. Guys, if you subscribe on Dub Club, you have not seen me bet yet. Some guys you may not see me bet until after practice, after qualifying. Talked about that with Christopher Bell. And then Kyle Larson, of course, who by the time this goes live, you're going to see it on my betting card for the Advent Health 400. So let's get right into it. See what we got first here on Dale Center. Top 10 place for Kansas. Love this. This was not planned. Noah Gregson, welcome to the Dale Center top 10. 18-1 for a top 10 via DraftKings Sportsbook. This line has held after I bet it. I'm just declaring it's front row motorsports weekend in America. Collectively, this has been a good track for them. They put cars in the top 15, it seems like, every time they come out. Last year in the spring race, they put everybody in the top 16. All three of their front row cars. McDowell top 10 here a few years ago before he left. This is just a good track for this program. Now, when you consider the issues with Chevy, how that gap has narrowed between Hendrick and Spire, and everybody's kind of struggling in the Chevy camp to some degree, this is an opportunity for FRM for all three of their cars. And Noah Gregson has run well here before. We know he finished top 5 here in Stewart-Haas Racing Equipment. This is a good track for him. Not just with SHR, he's had a few top 20s here with front row. I think you hang around at the top 20 all day, you get a little bit of chaos like we typically see at these mile-and-a-halves. Chevy not being as good as they were last year. 18-1 is a fantastic price for a guy that had, at times at Bristol, top 10 speed. I know they faded kind of late, but Noah Gregson last week ran inside the top 15, it seemed like, for 90% of that race. That's got to be a confidence builder heading into one of FRM's better racetracks at Kansas. Love Noah Gregson at this price, 18-1, with starting off here with a long shot. I hope you like it too. 18-1 for a top 10 via DraftKings Sportsbook for Noah Gragson. Coming up next, Denny Hamlin, opposite side of the spectrum. He is a favorite. 5-1 to win outright. That price is kind of moved. You can get plus 470 on FanDuel. I'd go ahead and take it because if he puts it on the pole, like we see Denny do so often in this Gen 7 Cup car, if he puts it in the top 3, he's going to be down to like 3-1 range. He's going to be down into 3-1 territory. I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to be put in a position where I have this FOMO and now I'm like, I don't want to put the house on Denny, considering, he should have won this race last fall. That race was insane at the end. Last spring, he had it was some kind of mechanical failure when he had a great car. So I don't want to bet 3-1. I don't want to be I don't want to be put in a box where I feel like I have to bet 3-1 or 3.5-1 for what's likely going to be a top 2 car on Sunday afternoon. He had the best car at Kansas last fall, should have won, didn't. He had the best car at Vegas earlier this spring. You could argue Chase Elliott's team made some really good changes and they were better there at the end if they had a few more laps, but overall throughout that race, that 11 car was on rails. So I think you consider the last 2 races at Vegas, Kansas. Vegas often considered a decent sister track to Kansas. Denny Hamlin, it's a rare time where I'm going to bet the favorite before practice, before qualifying, because as you saw in that graphic as well, I'm going to be betting on Hamlin to win the pole too. So Toyota's been fantastic here. It's actually pretty crazy. They have not won here in a couple of years. It's amazing to think about that when you consider how good they were here last fall. And now you have the often discussed issues with Chevy with their new body. I think there's a high percent chance that Toyota puts a ton of their cars in the top 10. And in particular, the Gibbs camp. Gibbs was a little bit better than 23-11 here last year as well. I know Bubba had a shot to win there at the end. And I have bet on Bubba, by the way, another guy that's not going to make the top 10 plays. 25-1 outright for Bubba Wallace. 23-11's they have a great history here. Gibbs has kind of scooted ahead of them, but you give me 25-1 for Bubba Wallace, I'll take it. He's had a pretty good year so far. And this is a track where they can kind of turn around some of their mediocre runs of the past couple of weeks. Now, moving on to the next guy, sticking with the Toyota camp. It's going to be a Toyota love fest, man. Chase Briscoe, 12-1 outright. This line, by the way, 14-1 is now available. I think that's on FanDuel. I want to double check that. I don't know what has prompted that. Sometimes we see lines move around in interesting directions. But Chase Briscoe, 12-1 outright, 14-1 outright, whatever you get, I think is a great bet for a guy that had a rocket at Las Vegas earlier this year. They were great on 1.5 miles in 2025. He's going to be in the hunt. He's going to be in the conversation. He spent the first 5 races of the season digging out of holes every single week. I think they had a potential winning car at Las Vegas. They got nothing to show for it because they had so many problems, pit road issues, bad qualifying run. They have finally righted the ship with a great top 5 finish at Bristol. Now they come to, in my opinion, their bread and butter in 2025. Other than Darlington, of course, last year, they come to their bread and butter, which is the 1.5 miles with this lower horsepower package that we've been accustomed to for quite some time now. I think Briscoe absolutely is a must bet pre-practice, pre-qualifying. I understand if you want to wait on Denny, but I would not wait on Chase Briscoe. He goes out late in qualifying, final 8 guys, I believe. He's a candidate to win the pole at 7-1. I'm betting both outright and pole for Chase Briscoe. I look at his top 10. I've seen as low as -140 for a top 10 for Chase Briscoe. That just seems like a hammer bet. The books are just not buying him is to the extent that they're buying his teammates. Now Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin, and of course Christopher Bell, as I mentioned earlier. So I think Chase Briscoe, this car's got winning speed, and he's going to win. It's only a matter of time. You look at what happened at Vegas, they had a rocket, but nothing to show for it because of all the issues, all the self-inflicted issues they basically piled on themselves early in the season. Chase Briscoe is going to be a factor on Sunday. Bet him now. Moving on. Oh, hold on. We gotta wait for that graphic to come off the screen. Give it a second. By the way, that 7-1 line to win the poll, I believe, is on DraftKings. Shout out to DraftKings, man. They have uploaded qualifying odds now 2 weeks in a row. And I know they've had qualifying odds very scarcely in the past with the Daytona 500. Maybe a few races here and there, but maybe this is a sign that DK is going to have qualifying odds every single week. So let's hope that's the case. Corey Day is the next guy we're talking about here. I talked about him last week. Hate that he didn't get a top 5. Probably would have gotten a top 5 if the O'Reilly race had stayed green for those final 15, 20 laps, whatever it was, because he was freaking flying at the end of that race. So Corey Day, I'm a little concerned maybe because this is a track he hasn't visited yet in the O'Reilly series. He has raced here in trucks. He has raced here in ARCA. As we've seen throughout 2026, there's a major stranglehold on the positional props of top 3s and top 5s. They're too expensive across the board versus what I've seen in prior years in this series. And probably partially because you don't have that Connor Zilic in the series anymore, who just saturates the board with the books basically viewing him as an automatic top 3, like worst case scenario, top 5. So I think even though you've got Cup guys that are jumping down, William Byron is priced basically the same as Justin Allgaier, and Byron's in that 88 car that Larson's been dominant with for 3 races this season. Only 1 win to show for it. But my point here is, let's take the outright at 15-1 via FanDuel. That line is held on after I bet it. I think it's too long for a guy that's knocking on the door in fantastic equipment. We'll keep it simple. You guys know, if you've been watching for a long time, I'm a huge fan of betting on guys that are knocking on the door, especially if you're going to give us 10-1 or better in what's arguably the best car in the O'Reilly series, which is this number 17 HendrickCars.com Chevy Camaro. So concerned about maybe laying an egg here, finishing 8th or 9th or something, and if just because of the lack of experience in this type of track. But there's also a shot that he comes out here and just gets better and better and better on the long run, like we've seen most of 2026. And I'm not going to miss out on that. So 15-1 outright. Also worth noting, with that being the first O'Reilly bet we've talked about, practice and qualifying probably going to get rained out on Friday night. If that happens, the scoring metric will set qualifying. Corey Day is going to be, I think, P6. I think that's where he's going to start, P6 or P7. He'll have good track position, but no practice, no qualifying. Maybe hurts this bet a little bit. But we've seen Corey Day have fantastic adaptability in 2026 at a variety of different racetracks. So I'm still fine with betting 15-1 and nothing else. Who we have next here, just talked about him, William Byron. We'll stick with the HendrickCars.com fleet. William Byron, I'm going to go ahead and bet this outright top 3. Pretty heavy here. I think no practice, no qualifying. That's fine. This car has been fantastic. It was the best car in 2025 on this particular track type with Connor Zilic, and earlier in the season, Kyle Larson when Zilic was hurt. All it did was finish 1st and 2nd. All these different intermediate style racetracks, P1 or P2. And you look at William Byron, I know it's been kind of tough with him on the Cup side. He also completely laid an egg at Phoenix when he jumped in this car earlier in the season. I did bet on him there. I felt pretty stupid, but it's all right. I think we won that because I had Carson Quapple, top 3, top 5. Anyway, now we come to a track type where this car and this driver is actually excels. Phoenix has been not a great track for William Byron, not the best track between Cup and O'Reilly. William Byron's bread and butter, other than being very good at the drafting tracks, is the 1.5 miles. So I think with the potential rain out here, this car is going to be, I think, starting 1st or 2nd. It's going to be on the front row. So that's a plus, obviously, getting that track position. But I trust William Byron in the spot. This is a track type that's been fantastic for him. Marty Lindley at the top of the box. commanded this car to non-stop wins and second place finishes in 2025. I think they're going to be dialed in regardless of what happens with practice and qualifying. I'm going to go ahead and bet it. It's not going to get any shorter. William Byron plus 350 outright and a plus 105 top 3. That is via Caesars Sportsbook, I believe. Even money's hanging out on the Bally Books and Hard Rock as well, so not difficult to find that. The plus 350, I believe, is at Caesars and Bally. You can double check me on that, but that will be bet by the time you see this program go live here on YouTube. Next up, hey, it's Front Row Motorsports Weekend in America. I'm on all 3 of their guys this weekend, and the deal is, I've been vocal about this on Twitter. I can't stand betting on Zane Smith top 10 sometimes because it seems like I look up and everybody's betting it. Like, without my advice, like other cappers, everybody in the community, it seems like just bets on Zane Smith for a top 10 at the same fucking time, and it curses it. So guess what? I'm betting on both of his teammates too, because Front Row is good here. Zane Smith was good here last year. I know that in the fall race, he ended up doing a fucking Tony Hawk slide on this wall right here in turns 3 and 4. He was competitive up until that point. So he was competitive here in the spring as well. I've already talked about how good Front Row is at Kansas collectively. Nothing else needs to be said. I bet this at 10-1 via FanDuel. I think you can get 8-1 right now. That's fine. Go ahead and do it. If you want to wait, maybe qualifies badly. I think the cars are going to be good in race trim, regardless of where they qualify. It does not concern me. We saw Todd Gilliland at Bristol last week qualify fucking 93rd. Got lapped at the beginning, drove his way into the top 10. So, does not concern me if they qualify bad. So, if you do want to wait, that's fine. Go ahead. I see 10-1. I'm going to go ahead and bet it. I also bet the top 5 for Zane at 35-1. In case he has a perfect day, a breakout type of race car, a breakout driver performance, no issues on pit road, I think it's possible. And that 35-1 via FanDuel was a little bit off market, so I went ahead and sprinkled it. Next up, Daniel Suarez, top 10 at 10-1, same price as Zane Smith. This is kind of a weird one to me because Spire, it seems like out of the Chevy camp, the organization that has been the least affected by the new Chevy body has been Spire. Trackhouse has been terrible. Hendrick has been terrible versus what their typical standard is. Spire's been hanging in there. I mean, Daniel Suarez is 15th in points. This point in the season, like, that's not a fluke. You see the results on his screen. He's been a top 20 machine on pure pace. So Kansas has not been bad for him. You know, in Trackhouse equipment, seemed like all he did here was finish between 10th and 17th. Outside of races where he crashed or had some type of big issue. So Daniel Suarez, good candidate for top 10. I know everybody focuses on Hocevar. I had actually bet on McDowell last week for top 10 in that big round robin parlay that lost just short of 3 units. That was stupid as hell. I'm sticking with Spire this weekend with Daniel Suarez in that 7. They've just been steady. It's worth a shot. I think this is a complete misprice. I'd probably bet it down to 8-1, similar to Zane Smith. I think they'll be competitive. If they run in the top 20, you have issues happen with some of the front runners. You have a little bit of chaos. They stay away from it. He could be right there on the cusp of another top 10 run. That is Daniel Suarez. And that is Daniel Suarez. Again, I clicked the wrong button, so we're going to wait. I do want to see what his best price available is at the time of recording here. Because I think his line did move a little bit via FanDuel after I bet it. 8-1. Yep, I see 8-1 still available on FanDuel Sportsbook. So I would still bet that. And I'll check. Actually, Zane Smith's line is gone. Best I see now on Zane Smith is plus 550. I'm glad I checked that. So maybe you should wait on Zane Smith, because I don't know if I'd bet it at 5-1 range. Maybe they'd qualify badly and you can get back up to 8-1 ish for Zane Smith. But Daniel Suarez still hanging out there at 8-1. I would for sure bet that. Next up, this is my top play for the O'Reilly series. It is a different Sheldon Creed in 2026. But Sheldon Creed at Kansas has been fantastic. 3 consecutive top 5 finishes here with 3 different race teams: RCR, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Haas Factory Team. They were great at Las Vegas earlier in the year, finished 3rd. Again, a good sister track comparison. I don't know what's going on with Sam Mayer. They are just not there. They have gremlins, but the Sheldon Creed 00 team, this is just a different driver now that he's finally got the monkey off his back. He's top 3 in points right now. He is a formidable threat to win the championship at the end of 2026. Sheldon Creed, this could be it. This could be the first win that does not involve a little bit of luck, right? He won in Atlanta with a little bit of luck. Leaders crashed in front of him. He was due for that luck. This could be the first win of Sheldon Creed's O'Reilly Series career based on pure performance. Let's put that up on the screen again. I'm going to ladder his top 5, top 3, and outright. 14-1, I believe I saw available on BetMGM, by the way. So check that out. I went ahead and bet 13-1 on FanDuel. I haven't bet the top 5 and top 3, but after sitting in the lab, I have decided this is going to be my top play, pre-practice, pre-qualifying. We're not going to get practice and qualifying, likely because of the weather on Friday evening, but Sheldon Creed's been good enough here. Top 5 machine, and now 2026, a different Sheldon Creed, a better Sheldon Creed, nowhere to go but up. We've already seen what this team and this driver is capable of on a 1.5-mile track to start 2026. I think that type of speed, that type of confidence, that type of momentum will carry over here to Kansas. Sheldon Creed, my prediction, is your winner on Saturday night for the Kansas Lottery 300. But if he doesn't win, that's okay, because we're going to bet the top 3 and the top 5 in case you get a William Byron win, maybe a Toyota win as well. So Sheldon Creed, love him this weekend. I've seen enough. I think this is the time where we max bet his top 5, ladder a good sized bet for his top 3, and then we take the outright for just south of a unit. Next up, hey, again, it's Front Row Motorsports Weekend in America. I'm taking Todd Gilliland for back-to-back top 10s. Just look at the stats. Another guy, you talk about Gregson, who's been good here, who's had decent performances in F1 equipment. Zane Smith, we've seen his speed here. Todd Gilliland, top 20 machine here in Front Row Motorsports equipment. Love the momentum from a fantastic run at Bristol last week, finishing P6. Todd Gilliland, everybody's betting on Zane Smith. They're going to forget about Todd. They're going to forget about Gregson. One of these 3 cars will get a top 10. If they both get a top 10, holy fucking shit, it's going to be a big weekend. But I think I love the idea of betting all 3 of them and one of them cracking that top 10. I think there's a high possibility all 3 front row cars run top 20, maybe top 15, and maybe 2 of them squeak into that top 10 by the end of the Advent Health 400. So love Todd Gilliland, love Noah Gregson, love Zane Smith. Everybody's going to bet on Zane. Don't forget about his 2 teammates who are good here as well. And we're sticking with Brent Cruz, man. I think Brent Cruz has been on this top 10 list multiple, like maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row at this point. But Brent Cruz, another guy that's knocking on the door. I thought he was going to win at Bristol last week. Maybe a little concerned because the JGR camp kind of sort of laid an egg here in the spring, or laid an egg at Vegas earlier in the year. They weren't as good as I thought they would be. Taylor Gray had some speed and got wrecked. Chase Briscoe had speed, kind of had to use strategy to get back into it. So I'm a little concerned about maybe taking the positional props because Gibbs as an organization was not as good at Vegas as I thought they would be with William Sawalich and Brandon Jones. But Brent Cruz, man, he's just so talented. He's knocking on the door. He's got potential to be the Connor Zilic type of driver in 2026. Like, once Brent Cruz gets that first win, he could be the next Connor Zilic type of talent in this series. And when 3, 4, 5 start piling them on throughout the year. This 19 car has been excellent at this particular track type, in particular with Eric Almirola. Talked about Vegas. Chase Briscoe did finish second with this team, so maybe you can use that for some confidence, even though I felt like the Gibbs cars weren't as good as I thought they would be at the first 1.5 miles of 2026. But I'm going to go ahead and take Brent Cruz. I've already bet his outright. I'll wait on the positionals in case they come here and lay an egg like half the program did at Vegas earlier this year. But I'm going to take the outright. Similar to Corey Day, they've run well enough to warrant an outright bet at 10-1 or better. I'm on 12-1. 10-1's available in multiple books. So scan all the sports books, get the best price available before we hit practice or qualifying, which again, probably going to be rained out. Brent Cruz is going to get a good starting spot for the Kansas Lottery 300 on Saturday. I hate myself because last week I somehow forgot to play the top 10 board to show you guys some unit allocations, to rank everything 1 through 10. I'm not going to forget this time because here they are, your Dale Center top 10 plays in order. You see number 1, Sheldon Creed. We're going to have over 5 units on this man before we hit track time. William Byron, number 2 on the board. Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Brent Cruz, 3 through 5. And then you get a bunch of your long shots, 6 through 10. With the top 10 plays, Daniel Suarez, Zane Smith, Todd Gilliland, Noah Gregson, and then the Corey Day outright right there in the middle. To see every single bet with specific unit allocations, check me out on dubclub.win. I've partnered with Dub Club for all of 2026 to deliver winning NASCAR bets, except for the Craftsman Truck Series, which I'm not putting on the fucking graphic because we're 33 units in the red. We will talk about trucks when trucks come back in May. We've got like a 3-week hiatus where we don't have to worry about Truck Night in America destroying us, and that is on me. But outside of trucks, it has been a good year. It's been a little up and down, but we're starting to get more momentum. We've had a few consecutive wins, and I think we're going to have another big weekend for NASCAR betting, excluding Truck Night in America. What is the button I'm looking for to get this off the damn screen? There it is. All right. Excuse that. That is my Dale-a-thon widget. I'll get that off the screen here. We're riding on board with Chase Briscoe, by the way. Now it is time for our parlays segment. It is the Dale Tanhart round robin, and we finally bet one last week on Sunday morning. Put down 6 units on, I think it was a 9-legger. 4 legs hit. It was the 4 most favorited legs. We needed a 5th one. It did not profit. It lost exactly 2.94 units. That's okay. It's all right because we had a big day having Ty Gibbs and Ryan Priest for some heavy bets that paid off in the end. I'm pretty confident in what I'm about to show you here, and I think I am going to bet this before we hit track time. I got to drive to Louisiana to do it. It's not a crazy drive for me, but I'm telling you right now, I really, really like what I'm about to show you guys. And it is a 10-legger round robin. And remember, we talked about this in the Discord. The round robin concept is confusing if you've never done it before. It's basically paying for the concept of losing a couple legs, right? You are paying extra money to ensure that if you lose a leg or 2 legs or 3 legs, you can still win. And that's why I like it, because it's not just some desperate parlay like we see so much in sports betting. And again, like, I still don't love it. You guys have seen how often I've actually bet these. I love to do the parlay segment because there is clearly an audience for that. The audience for that should view parlays as fun, okay? If I'm ever betting one, don't take it super, super seriously. And I know it's kind of contradictory considering what I'm doing here, because I preach trying to find the best ways to profit. Like, what is most likely to happen? It's not most likely to happen that you're going to hit a 5-leg parlay in any sport, a 4-leg parlay in any sport. But I think if you're going to be confident in a 4-leg parlay, a 6-leg parlay, an 8-leg parlay, play the round robins. Risk more to ensure that 1 or 2 losses can't kill you. So again, this segment typically is more for the fun, recreational side of sports betting. Don't put your retirement fund on this. And what I wanted to, I guess, tie that off with is what we talked about in the Discord last week is, I'm okay if you want to tail this round robin parlay and completely change your unit size. Mark it down. Because it is risky. It is. But a lot of times what I'm doing is I'm taking my favorite plays of the weekend and I'm combining them all together because in this instance, in the instance of Bristol, I really felt confident. And they were there. I mean, they were all there. We were one leg away. One leg away, right? That's always what the kryptonite is. You're always one leg away. But, you know, Chris Buescher, needed him for a top 10. He fell out of the top 10 with 2 to go. You hit 5 legs, you profit. You hit 4 legs, it's not a backbreaker. You know, you don't get your ass kicked. So I'm feeling pretty good about what I have this weekend. And the point here is if you make these on DraftKings Sportsbook, you can, if you're using the app, the minimum bet per parlay is 10 cents. So you can make it extremely low risk with still a big profit if most of the round robin comes together. So you can make 10 cents per parlay. If you don't want to trust my unit size, do 10 cents per parlay. You know, I'm telling you, if we ever do parlays, I'm going to give you my recommended unit because that's exactly what I put down. But I do not discourage the idea of playing or going against that because of the nature of parlays in sports betting. So I know that may have been a little long-winded, but here is what I am going to give you guys. Remember, we do have IndyCar as well. It's kind of driving me crazy because IndyCar will not upload top 3s on DraftKings. It's driving me fucking nuts. They will not load top 3s on DraftKings, which is just so frustrating until practice and qualifying is out of the way. So I built this on the app. It's a 10-leg parlay between Cup and O'Reilly. We're going to start with a Denny Hamlin top 3 in Cup at plus 135. Then we're going to go to a Christopher Bell top 5 at minus 110. A Chase Briscoe top 10 at minus 190. And then we're going to play the FRM guys. This is where the big money is if just one of these gets in that top 10. Zane Smith plus 550. Hate it, but it's all right for a parlay. So we're going to rock with those 3 guys as well. I'm going to rock with the Daniel Suarez top 10 plus 650. Throw that in there. And then Chris Buescher has sold for me so already way too many times this year. If you have bet with us on Chris Buescher, you have been disappointed because he has sold in late race situations too many times. But this is a good track for him. I think Buescher could be a top 5 guy. We'll take the plus money top 10, which is a good straight bet opportunity as well at that particular price. Then we are going to take a William Byron top 3 and a Sheldon Creed top 5. Again, your minimum stake here per set of parlays is 10 cents. So what I was going to do here is probably put $1 on the 2s, 0.25 on the 3s, 0.2 on the 4s, 0.1 on everything else. You see how crazy the payout is. Obviously you have to hit everything, but this right now, and it won't show me here because I'm not logged in, but I'll show you what, if you did this, what you would have to risk. So if you did 10 cents on every set of parlays, this would be $180.70. For me, that's a little over 3.5 units. And similar boat as last week. If you hit 5 of these, you're good. If you hit 5 of these, you're going to profit. And I really, really fucking like 5 of these. If you hit 6 of these, we're in the green nicely. If you hit 7, whoa. If you hit 8, holy fucking shit. If you hit 9, you're rich. If you hit 10, you're literally going to win $1 million. The likelihood of that happening is slim, but you never know. You never know. And I think there's good basis for every single play I have put on here. Because with front row, I'm really confident that one of these 3 is going to get a top 10. Suarez, I think, is going to be in that conversation as well. I think Chris Buescher, top 10 guy, probably a top 5 guy this weekend. William Byron and O'Reilly, top 3 feels like a lock. Sheldon Creed in top 5. Won't call it a lock, but I'm extremely confident because it's my favorite play of the weekend. Denny Hamlin top 3 in Cup, feels like a lock. Christopher Bell top 5 in Cup, feels like he's due for a bounce back. And Chase Briscoe top 10 in Cup feels like a lock. There is basis to bet this. Now, if you wanted to do the exact minimum like I talked about, 10 cents per set of parlays, 2s through 9s. You see how lucrative your payout would still be if you hit every single leg. Oh. So if you just did 10 cents per leg for this particular parlay all the way down, it would be $101.20 wagered. So for me, that'd be just a hair over 2 units. So it's kind of up to you, man. I think my point in kind of going on this long-winded conversation about this is I'm probably going to bet this. I'm probably going to ride it. You know, I'm probably going to bet it. I know I don't do a whole lot of parlays in NASCAR betting. I think parlays are the devil. And this is a very fun sweat behind me. But I feel really, really confident from everything I've watched, from all the data I've consumed. I'm really, really confident we could hit 7 legs. That's my bold prediction. I think out of these 10, 7 legs will hit. And that will be for sure a healthy profit if that happens. So that's my Dale Earnhardt, Kansas Yellow Brick Road round robin. I'm wearing a fantastic jacket for the luck. I know it's a Bill Elliott jacket and we haven't talked about Chase Elliott. I will go ahead and talk about Chase Elliott because can't trust him in qualifying. They had the best long run car at the end of that race in Vegas. He was really good here last fall at Kansas. I know he won the race. He probably had a P5, P6 car. But Chase Elliott's going to be in consideration post-practice, post-qualifying as well. Just wanted to throw that out there too, since we haven't talked about Elliott. And I am wearing an Elliott jacket. But now we'll make one little parlay here, a winner's parlay between all 3 NASCAR National Series. I'm taking Kyle fucking Kirkwood for IndyCar. I don't bet on IndyCar a ton, but he has been a money-making machine for me whenever I do bet. So I'm taking Kirkwood outright. I'm going to take Sheldon Creed outright. Because I think it's another breakthrough. And then I'm taking Denny Hamlin outright. That is 130 to 1. A $50 bet wins $6,500. If you wanted to get a little, let's think about this though. Let's think about it for a second. Let's go Kirkwood win. I would love to take Kirkwood top 3 or Lundgaard top 3 if DraftKings would offer it, but they won't. I will go a Denny Hamlin top 3 with a Kirkwood win. And then I will go a Buescher top 5. You want to get a little weird with it, we can do that. Then we'll go to O'Reilly and we'll take a Byron win and a Creed top 3. That's a 5 pick. That's 286 to 1. 50 wins, 14 grand. That's a potential sweaty round robin you could take too. This would be a round robin you risk a bit more because you get 2s through 4s, 20 or 25 total bets. I kind of like that one too. That incorporates a little bit of IndyCar. We really need them to put podiums, but yeah. Just giving you some options if you want to be a degenerate. But that original round robin I gave you guys, I think it's a winner. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the racetrack. And thank you guys for tuning in here to Dale Center NASCAR Betting. Again, I really, really appreciate everybody who's tuned in here on YouTube throughout the season. It's been a good start to the season. Obviously, the bad part of it, for lack of better terms or adjectives, is trucks. You know, trucks has been brutal, and we have a 2-week break on trucks before they come back in May. Still confident we can come back in trucks and get back into the green side, because we did have a bad start in trucks in 2025. Not to this extent, but you know, it's just been P2 outrights and failed max bets. That is the story of my season in trucks. I've had an outright finish second 4 times, and then I've had a ton of max bets fall apart in trucks. Some of them were terrible bets, some of them were bad luck stricken, but O'Reilly and Cup have been good. And I know it was a slide until basically Martinsville when we got the Chase Elliott win on the board. Now we've got some momentum in Cup and O'Reilly. I will be betting on Cup qualifying, and O'Reilly pretty heavily this weekend. Confidence is super high for a track like this. So hopefully I can help you guys win some money. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about my bets. Let me know what you think about my round robin parlay. And let me know what you're liking heading into the Advent Health 400 weekend at Kansas Speedway. Again, much appreciated for all the support. The viewership on YouTube has been fantastic. And of course, if I help you win some money, please come back, like, share, and subscribe. You guys have a fantastic weekend for Kansas. Good luck. Hopefully, we'll win a big one.